Hello and welcome back. If you're new, hello, welcome, feel free to subscribe. So this is my second attempt at recording this video. As you can guess by the title, it is all about my mental health. The first video I edited it, recorded, all scheduled to go, and then I decided I couldn't post it. So there was just a little bit too much of me in there and I wasn't comfortable with it. So the more I want to talk about my mental health, I can't tell you everything because I'm not at that point yet. But I did want to give you a wee bit of backstory and just a wee bit of information and some advice on where you can go and find out some more information. I'm doing this because last Friday's video, which was a seasonal affective disorder video and tips on how I deal with it, it may have come across as slightly flippant or that I was brushing off the seriousness that that surrounds seasonal affective disorder and depression, etc. I wasn't. It is just one of my many coping mechanisms. Anyway, I'm not going to continue rambling. I want to try and keep this short and give you as much information as possible. So, a wee bit of history. I have very good, strong people in my life that led me to believe that I could do anything, I could achieve anything, and that I was more than capable of doing anything in my life. So I don't want people to think that it must be all bad things. I did have people in my life that were negative and that basically talked to my own anxiety, and I would have very negative thoughts, very negative trains of thought where I would basically doubt everything from relationships to work. So that maybe I was a rubbish person, I was a rubbish friend, I am a terrible sister, whatever. And I would also have a lot of doubt surrounding my knowledge and my work and basically all aspects of my life. I've taught myself to stay busy a lot to help deal with this and to help cope with certain amounts of panic, etc. The depression came about because of the anxiety spiraled. I very much lived in my head. It's kind of a thing where I grew up, or maybe it's an Irish thing, I'm not entirely sure, but you don't tell people your business. And that meant that a lot of these thoughts spiraled and they got progressively worse and eventually led me to feeling very down of myself, very depressed. I did seek medical advice. I was on medication. I eventually came off the medication because I didn't want to be on it anymore. That was under medical advice, and I put certain mechanisms and certain systems in place to help me. These mostly involved lots of exercise, lots of getting outside and surrounding myself with positive people. And eventually I learned about cognitive behavioural therapy, and I read a lot about cognitive behaviour and how your brain works, and I learned a lot about that so I could change my thought patterns and how I spoke to myself. So the depression, as I said, it's sort of subsided a lot. I do still have my moments. The anxiety is still very much there, but again, I have changed how I talk to myself. I am much more positive to myself and a lot kinder. And if I find myself telling myself off, I stop and I say, well, actually, that's fine, that's okay. And this has massively helped me. In regards to seasonal affective disorder, that is where a lot of the depression hangs around on the edges a lot. So due to a lack of vitamin D, etc., and because I already have those certain patterns in my brain, it is easier for me to fall into a more negative way of thinking and a negative outlook on life and that kind of stuff. So that is why I mentioned my tips in that video and how I deal with it and how I cope with seasonal affective disorder. I am aware you can get a light box, and that is something I have investigated in the past, but I need to get outside, so it is good for me to get outside and to get my vitamin D that way and to get the fresh air and to get out and help my brain. So as a way for me to do that, it's better in my case not to have a light box because I make myself go outside then. So it depends on if you're able to get outside or not. If you're not, get a light box. If you have very negative thoughts and a lot of negative thought patterns and a lot of talking down to yourself and that kind of stuff and negative influences in your life, and you just feel, I would always feel very heavy of myself. It was hard to do anything. I would still get on and do stuff. So from the outside I looked pretty much okay. Apart from when I was by myself and I would be able to go off and have a wee cry and lie in bed and all these kind of things. So don't ever think that somebody is fine just because they look fine. What was I saying? Oh yes, so if you are feeling like this, make sure you talk to your friends and your family. Make sure you talk to a professional. They are there to help. It is very hard to open up about these things often, but it is worth doing. I still am not necessarily open about my struggles with my mental health, so this is kind of hard. But the right people in my life know, and they are a massive support, and they help a lot. I've had certain, so the whole depression thing, I had negative thoughts and these sort of things, but I also had various life events that did sort of trigger everything, and it slotted everything into place. So that it may be that this has happened to you. Maybe you've had a life event that has led you to be just feel a bit bad about yourself. That's okay. It's not just, oh, it must be as because of that. It's fine. It's okay to get some help after those sort of situations, whether it's health related. So I've had both health related and outside influences, is the way I want to put that. So events caused by other people impact my life, and it was better for me to talk about it, and that for me involved writing it down and doing it that way. So maybe that is a way for you to deal with it. Get it out. Is quite cathartic to get it out. I have talked about some of my health issues in the past. I prefer not to dwell on these things too much because I tend to dwell on things a lot. I would hold on to things for a long time, and that would be conversations from a year ago or a couple of years ago, or incidents that happen anytime since I've been born, basically. Anytime since my memory existed. I have had things that will pop up in my head when I'm walking to work, for example, and I just want to cringe and I want to hide into a corner and that kind of stuff. But my heart is racing telling you this. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a perspective as to why I felt I was able to give you some information regarding seasonal affective disorder. If you are going through a similar situation where you just don't feel 100%, talk to someone. And that may mean you end up talking to a professional. It may just mean that you get it out and you feel a lot better. Talking a lot helps. I find things like yoga and general exercise also massively help, because I am focused on my body and being in my body. And when I go for walks, just the lovely colours outside, being with people that I enjoy, and surrounding myself as well with good positive people that are achieving great things, that are moving forward in their life, that are just nice people. That helps. I do lots of things to stay positive, and one of them is like avoiding negative people and avoiding negative talk. So if somebody is mean to you, you don't need them in your life. If somebody will always come out with something more negative before anything else, or will be giving you backhanded compliments when, you know, they say something nice and follow it up with something nasty, if any of that kind of carry on, you don't need that in your life, because it will just lead you to spiraling down negative train thoughts for yourself. I'm aware it can be hard if there are family members, etc., that are like this, but reduce the contact with them. And if you do have to deal with them, brace yourself. Make sure you have a nice treat for yourself afterwards, whether it's a nice bath, a good book, a nice walk in the countryside, something that will pick you back up again. I like to listen to positive audiobooks like The Happiness Project. That helps as well. There are lots of things out there that will help. I will link a number of websites down below where you can find out more about mental health. I'm not entirely sure what else to say here, but this was just a bit of a, this is what is going on, and I wanted to give you a wee bit of backfiller, and I wanted to also talk to anybody who's going through similar, and to know that you may not feel comfortable talking about it, but maybe find that one person that you can talk to and talk to them. I may in future do a bigger video on this, but for now this is all for now. This is not for views, this is not for sympathy, this is not for anything like that. I'm grand. I'm a wee bit rocky because this week I had a wee bit of a panic attack of sorts because of the car accident. A few days later I had one of my thoughts, which is basically, it's all about what I seem to focus on in recent years is more about the fact that life is very short and that I don't have enough time to accomplish all the things I want to. And the main one at the minute is getting travelling. Due to the accident, we had to pay out a certain amount of money until we get that back, so that's more money from our savings gone, and I'm trying to set up and do work on providing good information regarding social media, and I'm not doing enough on that, and you know, just not believing that Simon wants to do it as much as me, and you know, these sort of thoughts. I did have a few days where I didn't want to talk to people, I didn't want to make eye contact, I didn't want to engage with anything, but like I said, I'm very fortunate. I have a Simon in my life, and he took action and he went to a travel shop, the STA, and he grabbed some brochures and we sat down and went through them, and we started going through the books that we have and bookmarking things and started to make slow but steady plans. So making plans also works for me massively, short term as well as long term. But yes, so I did have a few days of being, oh my god, but I'm very much coming out the other side. It's going to take a wee while to get back to 100%, but that's okay. I know that I will be grand, and I know that I will always have anxiety in the background, so I cut that off when I can, and I stop those conversations when I can, and I reinforce it with positive, etc., positive things. I will always have some sort of depression there, and that will come more to the forefront with winter, etc. Part of the reason I want to go traveling around the world and just have nice seasons all the way, because I will get all the vitamin D. But that will always be a part of my life. That's okay. I'm gonna be okay. That is it. If you are going through similar, make sure you do get some sort of help. But I am gonna go on, and if you have any questions, let me know down below. I will try and answer as best as I can. Like I said, this is not reviews or sympathy or anything like that. It is just a little bit of a, this is what the crack is. Thanks a million for watching. Please like, please subscribe. That seems a bit fake right there. But, you know, just whatever. Share it with somebody who might need it. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks a million for watching. Bye.